The Late Night Legends podcast is meant for a mature audience. Topics covered may be violent or sexual in nature and are not suitable for sensitive listeners. Please be aware of your surroundings. For specific trigger warnings, please see the episode's show notes. Testimony shared by guests of this show are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Late Night Legends hosts or staff. This podcast and any linked materials should not be considered medical or professional advice, nor is the information a substitute for the expertise or treatment from a professional. Listener discretion is advised.
Watch out. I can see you from behind. You can hear me in your mind. Run so fast as you can go.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Late Night Legends. I am Maria, coming to you from Colorado, the home of infamous Stanley Hotel, where ghost stories practically echo through the halls. But tonight, we're trading haunted hallways for zero gravity as we explore the International Space Station, what it is and why it's up there, and whether there's more to it than NASA lets on. I'm joined by your favorite late night crew, Frank, Charlie, and Kimberly. Frank's got the questions, Charlie's got the facts, and Kimberly's diving into one of the biggest debates. Is the footage from the ISS even real, or are we being played? You won't want to miss this one. And hey, before we blast off, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe down below. And never miss a ride with the legends. Oh, and stick around because Frank's also bringing us the latest news.
Thank you, Maria. Really quick, I first and foremost want to give the biggest shout out to Phil McSpooky and Dreadful D, as they were last week when they took over our show and did a hopefully very entertaining April Fool's Late Night Legends show. If you like their content and you want to see more of those two cool cats, check out the Super Balls podcast, which is their show. They broadcast live twice a month on the first and the last Tuesday of the month. And if you tune into that show, you're going to see some familiar faces, including myself and Joan. Very good content. Outside of that, as you can see, Tim took the night off. He's not feeling well, so we want to wish him a good recovery, I should say. Not better, but a good recovery. And then if you're out there and you're missing Joan because she's on vacation right now, know that she's in a great place. She is getting midday tipsy in Ireland, which midday here may not be midday there. I don't know. I'm not good with time zones, but it's probably at an appropriate time. Kay, did you do the math on that one?
I don't have it on me right now, but she was...
She's drinking some whiskey and feeling frisky.
She was. And Frank was like, what time is it over there? And I said 4 o'clock or 9 o'clock, something like that.
It was
and he
6 o'clock.
Oh my gosh, that's really early in the morning to start. I'm like, PM, Frank.
No, that's not exactly how it went. I asked what time it was, and you said it was 6. I assumed AM, so I said, I hope she's having one of those big breakfasts with the beans. The tomatoes and the bangers. And then you're like, PM. And I'm like, oh, she could still be having breakfast, but if not, I hope she's having the dinner meal. And then I said, see, Charlie, yeah. And then Charlie, you get it. Like, then I said, I hope she's having some of that Irish guacamole, aka mashed potatoes. But that is the news. Hopefully we will see Joan, Tim, Colin soon, hopefully. But we are having ourselves a show tonight, so I'm really happy that you tuned in, and we're going to go ahead and pass it off to Kay McSpooky, as her title says here, and we're just going to jump right into it.
Yep. So one thing that Frank forgot to mention, the reason why we're doing this ISS conspiracy theory is because we have another themed month, and this month is space conspiracy theories. So super excited for that. We've got some great space themes coming along this month. But today we're talking about the ISS. And listen, let's just put on our tinfoil hats real quick. Maria's got her little antenna on. Her microphone's got a little hat. Frank's ready to go. I ran out of time. But yeah, I'd just say keep an open mind. Let's have a little fun with it. I am not going to say that the ISS isn't real. And I'm not going to say that all of the footage that we've seen of the ISS is not real. But while scrolling along TikTok a couple times, I've seen something that just kind of makes you pause and just kind of question. Hold on. Wait a second. So that's all I'm trying to do today, is to show you some stuff just to get the wheels turning in the head and just kind of think like, well, could this footage be fake? And if so, why?
I also want to add in really quick that I did not do a topic for this month, or will not be doing a topic for this month. But at the end of today's show, I'm going to tell you what my favorite space conspiracy is. So just remind me all if you can, if you remember. You don't have to, I suppose. But I'll try to remember. But if I do, you'll find out.
Okay.
So stay tuned.
Super excited. Okay, so just a little bit about the ISS. I'm imagining everyone listening probably knows what the ISS is, but if you don't, it's the International Space Station. And a little bit of information about that is it is a low Earth orbit space station that was built and is maintained by 5 space agencies. It orbits at about 250 miles off the face of the Earth and completes one orbit about once every 93 minutes, or a little bit more than 15 times a day. The first module was launched in 1998, and the ISS is planned to return to Earth in 2031, so coming up pretty soon here. Long-term occupancy began on November 2nd, 2000, and it has been occupied ever since, which is over 24 years. So in 24 years, we have never had all humans on Earth at one time. It was originally intended to be a laboratory, observatory, and factory, as well as a base for other missions such as to Mars or to the Moon, which we haven't done either of those. Pretty lame, if you ask me. And that's another huge conspiracy that I don't think we're going to be talking about this month. Maybe we could talk about it a little bit after we get done with this one, but did we land on the moon? I think that has to be the biggest space conspiracy theory, other than, is space even real? So
legit, there's people that believe space is not real.
There are.
So
yes.
so I know that's kind of laughable maybe to some of the listeners, but there's like actual people that believe like there is no space.
I was trying to find some of this footage outside of TikTok, because we like reliable sources. And I was reading a Reddit page, and there were people actually on there saying that ISS isn't real because you can't get past the firmament. Like, space is not real. They're like diehard people that believe that space is not real.
I read a conspiracy about the ISS that's not anything to do with footage. So I don't know if that's the only thing you're going to talk about, but I read a recent one that if you want me to say what it is, I can tell you.
Sure.
So what I recently read as far as conspiracy theory goes with the ISS is that there's actually a crack in the hull, and that the media and NASA are downplaying how severe it is. And somebody on 4chan actually posted that there was a big crack and they don't know what to do and they're going to have to ground the beast. And obviously 4chan, nobody pays attention, right? But then when Trump took office, Trump and like Elon Musk and that whole cabinet thing, they were like, yeah, we might need to ground it for financial reasons. So like now people are within the conspiracy community like, oh, maybe it does have a huge crack in the hull that's really bad and getting out of control. So that's the one that I recently read that's in kind of like not in the news, but like it's trending right now within the crazy community.
Gotcha. That is interesting.
Well, if you don't believe it's real, then it's kind of an irrelevant conspiracy,
How
right?
can it have a crack in it if it isn't
if
real?
If it doesn't real.
And that is another big one, is that the ISS is not real at all. So yeah, I just want to show you a couple videos that I have seen that kind of just make you question a little bit.
I'm going to put this on when things get real, or when things get serious in this podcast. That's how you know, like, okay.
Okay, I am going to share my screen and try to not show any personal information.
Everybody look at her tabs. Look at them.
Look at my tabs. Look at my tabs.
Look at those apps.
I closed a bunch of them out.
My God.
Just
that toolbar is crazy.
I know. I closed a bunch of things out just for this. Okay, so I'm gonna play some, and we'll kind of describe them for people who are listening in audio only formats. So let's see what we've got here.
Can you move the cursor so the there you go. So the scrub bar goes away.
Yeah, so this one, I don't know if you noticed in the back, there's a guy flying back and forth with a harness.
Is there?
Yeah, let me back it up.
Yeah, you just like casually passed by.
Let me back it up. Hold on.
Oh, yeah. That's pretty good, actually.
So with that one, some people have said while on the ISS, the astronauts will wear harnesses like that just so they're not bumping into things. But I don't know, it's just kind of funny to see somebody flying around on a harness behind them. So that one's not a big one.
We got a quick chatter here. Bernard says, "Where did the guys from last week go? They were quite dapper."
They're gone, Bernard. Okay, let's check out this one. So this one will zoom in a couple times, and at first I didn't really get what they were trying to get you to look at, but they want you to look at his shoulder right here as he's coming down. And it will zoom in. Do you see that?
It's definitely a string mark.
Oh.
Yep.
Really quick, also, we have a commenter named Chris saying, "Grounding the ISS involves sending it into the atmosphere to burn up."
Yeah, potentially some of it will burn up. Well, quite a lot of it possibly. But yeah, it's basically just going to crash in the Indian Ocean. I think that's the current thing.
Yep. We've got to send up a rocket to push it out of orbit.
Mm-hmm.
So for those of you listening on an audio format only right now, we see an astronaut in the ISS. He's kind of got his arm up and he's floating downwards, and the corner of his shirt next to his shoulder kind of puffs up a little bit, almost like there's a harness pulling on it, and
Like
there's
a string.
almost like a little bit of a string, like a fishing wire that you can see next to his shoulder.
Let me ask you this. Is this actual, like, verified footage from the ISS that we're watching, or is this like a parody of footage?
All of this is supposedly real footage from the ISS.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. Okay, let's see what we've got. They're going to zoom in a little bit more on it.
Yeah, I gotta admit that looks pretty sus.
Yeah, that sleeve thing is weird.
Okay,
Charlie, what you feeling on that one? Sorry.
This is one of the most widely shown pieces of footage when people talk about the ISS not being real. So what they're going to want you to be looking at is the guy with the microphone. He's going to show you how cool he can do a backflip. And I want you to watch this other guy's arm right here.
Oh my God.
Oh.
And that's not the microphone wire, is it?
Watch,
Yes, it is.
watch
it
his
is.
hand. Watch his hand.
Oh.
Yep. So this astronaut is doing a backflip and kind of gets a little squirrely, and the other guy reaches over And the flipping astronaut's pocket is pulling up weird, like it's connected to a harness. You can see a little bit of a string, and the other astronaut grabs right above his pocket where there shouldn't be anything and stops him and stabilizes him.
Could you replay that one?
I can.
Because he does a flip, we should be able to see his pocket at some point, right?
Yeah, I wasn't looking at the pocket. I was looking at the arm. Oh, yeah, right there.
And you see...
It's almost like the second astronaut goes to grab the pocket.
You see his whole body adjust, and he even looks down and reacts to it. But he wasn't even touching the pocket. Look at that.
Yeah, I mean, I can see how like if the material of the pants are like stiff enough, it could like just leave that crease on there. But the grabbing like of just thin air is weird.
That's a lot of starch.
So
heavy starch in the ironing on the.
Yeah, it would have to be a heavily starched pair of pants.
Okay, and then we'll keep going, and you can see him. He's still got his hand right above his pocket. Oh, that was the last of it. Okay, so that's it for that guy. Do you guys have any thoughts on that, just overall, before we keep going?
I'm not yet a believer either way. I will say that I went into this with an open mind, but I've not bought the meat you're selling yet.
Okay. But it's got the wheels turning though, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There's still a lot of questions for me, but yeah.
Do you want to extrapolate?
Well, the way they are showing these wires and these harnesses, or the way they're trying to portray them, I don't understand how they would work if they're so a normal like stage harness for like a flying rig. It's like a jock strap kind of thing. it's the lift and separate underwear with 360 rotating, swivels on the hips and wires coming up. So with the backflip specifically, I would have thought we would have seen something more, because if the wire's in his pants, if you think about it, the wire's coming out of his pants or something like that, and then he does a backflip, wouldn't that just mess your whole thing up? So I've got some logistical questions. I need to see more evidence.
Yeah, my thing too is like, even if that footage is supposedly real, there's nowhere that says it can't be doctored later on to just use the liquefy tool a little bit to make a little peak on places so it looks like there's something going on too.
Yeah. Who knows? Okay. So here's another one, and it's gonna reference this same video. It shows that, and then the other thing that it wants you to pay attention really to is this lady's hair. So what they're talking about in the video that you can't really hear is her hair. It's like they took 5 bottles of hairspray to it to glue it up, and it doesn't really move at all. And so they're kind of saying like, oh, we've got to make this believable. We've got to just plaster her hair up so it's like so cool. You can totally tell she's in zero gravity. And something that I wanted to show you that's, oops. Oh, don't look at any of that.
Oh my God, I saw Loeb on the desktop. Holy
I just
shit.
have screenshots of that.
Oh no.
But so this is a video of somebody in the ISS, astronaut Karen Nyberg, and she's going to be showing us how she washes her hair. Washes her hair.
Before you play it, Kay, press the button that's 2 to the right of the gear.
Right here? 2
Yep,
to the
1,
right?
2, no, to the other way. There you go. Press that one.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay, so you saw in the other video that lady's hair is like straight up, and when she moves her head, it's like
there's no movement in the hair.
There's no movement. So I will say, playing devil's advocate here, there is a difference in hair length, but I want you to watch a little bit of this and watch the difference in the hair movement between this lady's hair and the last lady's hair.
So what you're saying is this is probably real footage. So we can have a reference of how hair should behave.
You can see like up here how much movement is in that hair.
But even still, there's a lot that's staying pretty still. I mean, like you said, the hair length is different. But
Yeah. And let me see if I can go back.
this is a great video, by the way, if you've never seen that one, how she washes her hair.
It's pretty fun. But I mean, that one would be pretty hard to fake because she's like doing it and we've got water. I mean, you can fake really anything, but you've got water droplets that are flying off in every direction. It would be much harder to fake than this controlled one, but I'll show you this video again of her hair and what it looks like.
You know what, Kay? You're starting to make me a believer here.
What'd you say? Sorry.
You're starting to make me a believer. I'm starting to buy into it now. Just a little bit. I'm gonna put the hat on now.
Yeah. So yeah, you can see with this one, she's moving her hair around. Her hair is shorter. The movements are a little bit more gentle. I'm going to play devil's advocate because I don't want to appear as though I am making the narrative fit my side. I'm saying, hey, this could be a factor. Her hair is shorter. She's a lot gentler in her movements, but this hair is just like rock solid. So it really seems like somebody just hung her upside down, doused her with 5 gallons of hair gel, and then blow dried her. But I'm glad to hear that you're seeing things, Frank.
I'm tonight. I'm born again.
Okay, so we watched. Is this the one that we already watched?
While you're pulling up
Go back to
more
his butt.
Back to his
Wait, what? Did you say go back to his butt?
I want to see the backflip from the beginning. Ugh.
Did you want to see it?
It's fine. It's fine. Move it along.
Okay, I'll go back to it. This backflip. This is the one you wanted to see.
See, like,
There's
where's the
his-
harness there? He's
Well, it
wearing
would
a
be on the
jumpsuit.
hips. It would be on the hips. It wouldn't be on the
I know.
rear end.
I'm looking at the hips. We're looking at the hips pretty prominently. Is that okay? So that's
I mean, here's his little pocket poof right here.
yeah.
So
So the wire should be attached to the ceiling,
right.
going through his leg.
Listen, I'm not saying that this is concrete proof that it's fake, but I'm just saying when you get to the point where he's pulling on his pocket, it's pretty.
Charlie's gonna pull out a calculator here in a second. and
Evidence
start.
of absence is not absence of evidence, or vice versa.
But yeah, that right there. Check that out. That right there. And you can see his movement change and you can see his movement change.
Can I ask you a question that you may or may not know the answer to?
Okay.
Was this video made? What was the intention of this video? Was it to advertise the ISS, or what was the goal of the actual footage?
So I believe this footage right now, they are talking, most likely it's to students on Earth. They would
So
do this.
recruiting video.
It's not a recruiting video, but they would. I actually went to one of these when I was in school, and they would have astronauts on the ISS with a microphone, and you could ask them questions. And so I believe that's what this video is a recording of them speaking to people on Earth, whether it's young students, old students, people asking questions, and they're answering questions. So they're showing like, oh, yay, we are in space. And he decides to do a backflip.
Space propaganda. I got you.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding, Charlie. I'm just kidding.
Space propaganda.
I'm just looking up a playlist of ISS backflips now. I'm on a whole other rabbit hole.
So this one will probably be a little bit more difficult because you guys aren't hearing the video. And what I really want for you to hear in this one is this guy is going to go around a corner he's gonna grab onto something like a screw, and the screw falls and you can hear it drop. So
No.
I will send this to Frank. Frank will put this in post. If you're watching live right now, we will put it in post and you can hear it.
I'll increase the volume level for everybody.
You can hear it like come loose, drag loose of the hole that it's in. And then a split second later, you can hear it hit the ground. But what you'll be able to see while watching this is this guy's reaction. He's going to look down, which if you're in space and he drops a screw, it should just float. His reaction should not be to like look down after the screw. But you can, in the video, you can hear it hit the ground. But we'll show you this.
Oh.
Yeah. So when it goes to slow motion, you can hear it hit the ground, but it falls. He looks down after it, and then you can see he's looking on the ground for it, but you can hear it hit the ground. Yeah. And I think that's
very convenient that Kay cannot share her audio.
I'm listening to it. That's why sometimes I have to pause it because you guys are talking to me and I can't hear you over the audio.
Ironically, Charlie did a show last time about a talking mongoose, but he's trying to debunk your ISS.
I believe in talking mongoose before I believe that ISS is fake.
Really?
I'll tell you that.
You think that was more believable than this?
Yeah. Easy.
Okay. I would actually be... I'd be on the opposite side of that fence.
Wow.
But I can dig it, Charlie.
Okay, I think those are... There was another compilation that I had, but I don't know if I have it pulled up. I'll go ahead and come back here and stop sharing. So I will talk about one that is known to be fake. So there's a video, I believe it's of an older president that is being wheeled around NASA, and behind him, he's in a wheelchair. That's why he's being wheeled around. Behind him, you see an astronaut in front of like a blue grid blue screen, and he has a ball, and a lot of people say that that is evidence that NASA was using it's basically a green screen. It's a blue screen with a grid on it. But NASA does use a grid blue screen on the ISS just to be able to conduct experiments so you can just more easily measure things. So that is one where I saw that and was like, yeah, that's a reach.
We also got Bernie in the chat saying that one astronaut just had super greasier hair.
Yeah,
I would think greasier hair would make your hair like flop down. Maybe it's not.
Be weighted.
Bernard, do you think it's a pomade situation maybe? Or do you guys have that hair gel? I don't know, they sell it here in Chicago. It's called Moco de Gorilla, and it's like really thick. You know what I'm talking about, Charlie? Like the teenagers
Gorilla
wear
spit, yeah.
No, it's Gorilla Snot.
Whatever.
Could just be greasy hair. I mean, it's got to be really difficult to wash your hair in space. I watched the video of the other lady washing her hair. I'm like, it's not really washing.
So, Kay, do you think some of the footage is real and some of it is not? Or do you think it's all not real? Or do you think it's all real?
I have seen some footage, especially some while looking for footage to share tonight. And I'm like, that would be extremely difficult to fake. Like even some of the stuff that we've seen tonight, we're like, yeah, that would be kind of hard to fake, but I don't know. I've seen some footage that's like, I don't know how on earth they would have faked that. Some people say they would do it in a swimming pool. I don't know. But I will say I think some of it could be fake. My bigger concern is why would some of it be fake? What's the reason? That's
Yes.
where I get like tripped up.
Yes. The only person that we don't know where they're on this topic is Maria, who's been very neutral Switzerland this whole time.
Maria, I need to know what you and your microphone think.
I mean, so the lady that the hair was moving, the one that was washing her hair, she was also in
Yes.
the ISS. So, like, I'm just wondering, like, if both of those ladies were in the same spot, but then different results, then, like, yeah, what's the difference? Because seeing the lady with, like, the hair moving around freely, that makes me think that, like, it's real. And the other one's just probably a lady that has very short curly hair that doesn't move as much, maybe. But I don't know, some of these are questionable, but I don't know, I think I believe that it is real. But I don't know if they are faking some of it, then yeah, I would ask the same question, like, why would they need to fake it?
Can I ask you a question, Kay, and Charlie, if you guys have watched the footage of the interview? What was the latency like from question to receiving the question and answering on the part of the astronauts?
I have gone to one, and
How was that?
it was, I'd say, similar to when you're watching the news and they're like, over to you, Jan. And they just stand there for a minute with their microphone.
So Jan is usually like in the same city, but probably around the city limits. So you're saying the latency is similar to somebody maybe 20 miles from the news studio, only they're thousands and thousands of feet in the air, bouncing that signal probably off a satellite, no less, with the same or similar feeling latency.
Yeah, it definitely was like maybe max 5 to 10 seconds. It was not like bang, you had to wait for them to answer. And it was not like 30 plus seconds.
But do you think that it would, the latency would be better since they're like closer to the satellite? They like get that, I don't know.
I don't know. There's a lot of technical stuff that I feel like can go into that.
They're closer to the satellites, but they're moving so fast. I mean, it only takes 93 minutes for them to orbit the entire Earth, and they're 250 miles off the face of the Earth. So, I mean, they're cooking. So once you get close to a satellite, you're already past it. Like, they'd have to be hopping so fast on satellites. I don't know.
According to Google and Quora, round trip delay could be 5 to 10 seconds, basically.
So even if the signal only works 60% of the time, 100% of the time, it's still only 60% of the time. But at almost 100% of the speed.
Listen, I don't want to be the one.
Sure.
Charlie, I'm just kidding, man.
I don't want to be the one to bring the ISS or the moon into things, but I'm just saying sometimes I can be where the trees are a little too dense and I can't get a signal on my phone, but we could have a phone call on the moon.
Yeah.
What?
Well, your cell phone, even though I'm a believer in what you're saying, Kay,
Frank,
your cell phone
I
would
don't
use,
want rationality.
it would use cell towers to make that signal, and there's the handoff between cell towers. But there are actual satellite phones that do use satellites, and those would not lose the reception in the wooded area. That's why, like, if you're like a hiker, they have those satellite phones. Or if like you're a prepper and you're preparing for the apocalypse, they have those satellite phones.
But like 50 years ago?
50 years ago, they used radio signal. They broadcast it from a high power antenna on their lunar module.
Yeah. I don't know.
Them spacesuits was made of tinfoil, y'all.
I've seen.
Not to add more fuel to this fire, but
Do it.
are you people aware of the Vomit Comet?
The Vomit Comment.
I want to say yeah.
This is an astronaut training tool. You train people for microgravity, zero gravity, low gravity. where it's a passenger jet, essentially. I think they use a 737, maybe, but there's no seats in it. Obviously, it's just like a big empty space. They fly up and then they fly down really fast, and nobody's trapped in. So that generates a microgravity. So the movie Apollo 13, a lot of the microgravity scenes were filmed on the Vomit Comet. They were able to do that.
Oh.
So,
amazing movie, by the way. Go check it out.
Yeah, it's a great movie. So, you know, there is a possibility that you can recreate a lot of these conditions without a harness, without a swimming pool, with a plane, which we know exists. I hope we're all on board with the planes. And yeah, NASA does use a very deep pool to train for suit excursions outside the space station. Obviously, you can't, like, if you can't breathe underwater, I don't know how they would fake that.
Yeah,
because they're all wearing just clothes. But just another thing to throw out there.
I will say also, I did watch footage of another woman on the Vomit Comet, and when she goes into microgravity, she has hair probably a little longer than mine, probably comparable to the video of the one that was washing her hair, and her hair is even more fluid.
Pull your hair out. Let's see how long it is.
You can see how long it is. It's a little longer than that, but
is that Simone Yetch on the Vomit Comet?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't know their names.
She's great. Look her up. She's my favorite.
But hers is even more fluid. Hers is like comparable to being underwater. Like if you were to turn your head underwater, it's even more flowy than the video of the one washing her hair on the ISS.
Do they allow or encourage like hair ties? I know it sounds stupid, but wouldn't your hair get in the way? Wouldn't you want to put it in a hair tie for like if you're going into space so it doesn't like slap you in the face?
That's what I've wondered too. Like if I was in space, I wouldn't want my hair back all the time. But almost every single video that you see of, at least when I was looking for this, they all have their hair down. And
yeah, that's weird because I would picture the hair like all over the face, just, you know.
Yeah, I wouldn't want that shit.
I'm like, you're telling me that conveniently in space, your hair always goes back like that in zero gravity?
And you could push it back
like to the sides.
But if they're like like the lady in that video, I've watched multiple interviews of women on the space station, and their hair is always back. You never see them going like this. You never see it going all over their face. It's always back. It doesn't matter if they're turning. It doesn't matter if they're going down the ISS. It's always back. Not a hair tie in sight. What is that about?
I will say that every time I watch the movie Armageddon, I cry when Bruce Willis tells Ben Affleck that his job is to take care of his daughter.
I do too.
Required watching. Leave us a comment down below. What's your favorite scene in the movie Armageddon?
Whenever I hear
my favorite is Ben Affleck's DVD commentary.
Oh my God, that is the fucking best. I have a favorite quote from that commentary, Charlie, and I'm going to tell you what my quote is. You tell me if it's your favorite quote too.
Yeah.
My favorite quote is when they're having the commentary, Ben Affleck is like, yeah, and I asked him, why is it harder to make astronauts oil drillers than oil drillers astronauts? And he told me to shut the fuck up. That is the best part of the commentary.
Yep, it is. I watch it.
Is that also your favorite quote? Oh my God.
Yeah. I like to just watch that excerpt. It makes me really happy.
I was just going to say, I thought you were talking about quotes from the movie, like when the guy has the animal crackers and he's like, should it migrate to the valley or the mountains?
I like it when he's like making this sound like, wee.
Yeah. Yeah, but we are coming up on time here, so there's just one more that I want to show you.
Oh, I thought sorry about that. I thought we got through them all.
No, it has to do with the moon, but you won't be able to hear what he says.
We'll put it in post.
Okay. Do you want me to play it and you can add the sound in post, or do you want to just pause? Sorry.
Just play it now so we could watch it.
Okay.
Just do react faces to it.
We need you to do a reaction face for the thumbnail. We'll not fail on a third time in a row. By the way, Kay. Okay, how about this? You play the video and we're going to have Maria ad-lib sounds to go with the video. Ready?
Oh,
Go.
hold on. It has subtitles here, so you can read what he says.
Okay, Maria, you got to read what this old man is saying.
Okay, here we go.
I'd go down to the moon in the
Oh my god.
It's going too fast.
And funny reaction clip. Okay. Huh.
So, let me stop sharing.
We've got ladders that can put a man on the roof. How's that metaphor go?
This is a guy being interviewed that has gone to the ISS, and he's asked the question, if you could go to the moon, if you were given the opportunity, would you go? And his response is, I would go in a nanosecond, but we don't have the technology anymore. We destroyed it, and building it back would just be too difficult.
That is true. As far as I don't know if it's actually true. That is a true thing that people do say. People do say that we no longer have that technology. There are people that do say that as an argument. Like, why haven't we gone back? Why aren't we there right now? Why haven't we colonized?
If you're telling me that the calculator on my phone has more power than the computers that were used back then to help put us on the moon. And I know that there were real people behind that. There's movies, documentaries, everything about the people that helped get us to the moon. What? We can't figure out how to do it again? And you're telling me that we're still doing excursions to the Titanic because we haven't learned enough about it, but we went to the moon and we brought back a couple of rocks and we're like, yep that's good. Never got to go back.
I've also heard people say, like, we got the lander to the moon, but somehow that same lander, it's hard enough to convince astronauts, like, you get to the moon, you're probably going to get up there and die because you may not be able to make it back. So you got to be cool with that. But then that little lander that looks kind of not super powerful launches off of the moon again.
Yeah.
It makes it. I'm just saying what the common arguments are. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying I believe it. But it is kind of funny when you're like watching a picture, or they're showing like a video of the lander, and you're like, could that launch off of the moon? I don't know. How much fuel could it hold? And then they're going to get in there and cook with all that fuel that can launch them off the moon.
Yeah. So that's what I have. Should we do final thoughts?
Sure.
Charlie.
You got it, Charlie.
I mean, okay.
You can tell us where you fall on the spectrum of believer to
Be
non-believer.
totally honest. You're not going to hurt my feelings if I have not convinced you.
There are plenty of questions, of course. There's always going to be questions. This is a big government agency. It's a big government-funded project. Well, it used to be. Now we're privatizing it all because we're privatizing everything, and it's great. But it's... I have less questions about the ISS because there are 5 government agencies, like you said. The ESA, was it India, Russia? I don't know all the...
Talking about BRICS?
No, but I'm saying the 5 government agencies that put together the ISS.
Oh,
I looked it up.
NASA,
I didn't bother
ESA,
writing it down.
the European Space Agency, the Russian Space Agency, and I think India, and I think someone else. That's just a lot of moving parts. And
those countries don't even agree all the time. I'm sorry, Charlie. I shut up.
But see, that's the thing, is like science and a lot of scientists do agree about a lot of things. And that's like, maybe I'm just naive and I'm just I'm holding out hope because I believe that one true good thing could ever happen in the world where we're like, oh, you know what? For the good of space, for the good of humanity, for the good of exploration, look at all the great things that NASA has developed, Velcro, all these technologies that we used to get to space and the moon before. Let's, one last hurrah. Let's get one thing all together. We're all going to use it. And then there's there were people trapped up there, and then
when the Ukraine war started, they were Russian, and we were like refusing to get them down, and then like we broke orders from our own government and helped them get out of the ISS when we were like not going to do that because of the invasion of Ukraine. That did happen. Is that what you're referencing?
Well, what was the other one where they had to send supplies through SpaceX, and like the SpaceX guys went up to
That I didn't know about.
The one
that was
recently?
More recent.
Yeah, they just brought them home like last week.
Yeah. So it's like, so now you're involving private organizations. Well, kind of private because it's still heavily subsidized by the government. I don't know. I've got a lot of questions about this. The low quality TikTok video. I'm sorry. I'm gonna need a little bit better evidence, but I know that's not how it works. I
think I got a sock puppet over here I can enact.
The ISS is not real.
I'm just for these kind of things with that kind of like government conspiracy in particular, there are plenty of horrible things that governments do all the time, but
yes,
it's so many moving parts. How do you people aren't that smart to figure it out. Like, why would they go through the trouble of building all these giant props? Have you ever seen like the footage of when they were making the James Webb Space Telescope? It's massive, and you've got this little guy standing in the middle, and you see this huge array of the giant beryllium gold-plated mirrors, and so it's like, why would you fake that? Like, for what point and purpose? Just to like, it costs more money to fake it than to just do it, or the same amount of money. I don't know.
All good, Charlie. You're good. Maria, you wanna take a crack at a final thought?
Oh, I have to go after that.
I know it's a hard act to follow.
I'm sorry.
You're good.
Well, yeah, I don't know, I'm like leaning more with Charlie though, like with at least the ISS. Just again, yeah, like the videos, like I would also need a little more evidence than just TikTok. But I know those are like videos that someone took from a while ago and then they edited and put it on TikTok. But I don't know, the hair thing though, that does kind of make me question, because I don't know, I'm not that great in math and physics, but it's just not making sense how like the hair movement would be so stiff and just all the same in all of like the female astronauts that we see. It doesn't make any sense. And for the moon stuff, I also question, like, if we had the technology for it in the past, and now that we've made so many advances in like science and technology, like why aren't we able to recreate that again now that we have like even more resources? So yeah.
You want me to go?
This is me pointing at you on my screen, but
I'm on the other side on my screen.
That's pointing at me.
She's over here on this.
Now I'm pointing not even at anyone if I do this.
Okay. I'm just gonna throw it all out there for final thoughts. First of all, we would love to hear what you have to say about this topic in the comments. If you have a crazy space conspiracy theory, throw it out there. We want to hear it. As far as this topic, okay. Wear the hair ties. My hair bothers me in my face on Earth, and you're telling me that you don't need a hair tie in space because it does get in your face. Okay, cool. I went to, I'm not trying to dox myself here, but I went to a special high school that revolved a lot around space. And I went to school in a space museum, actually, and I did an experiment that was supposed to be sent to the ISS. The first one blew up on the rocket. The second one, we never heard back. What happened to my experiment? I just want to know, NASA, okay? Next, I saw a replica of your little dune buggy and your little thing that you landed on the moon. You're not telling me that that thin aluminum foil little thing landed on the moon and launched off. Next thing, when we got on the moon, where was the camera?
Charlie's gonna rage quit.
Who set up the camera? Huh? Who set up the camera? I'm just asking.
Why was that flag blowing in the wind, NASA?
That was going to be my next point. Have you seen footage of the flag? You're telling what? You're
Please
telling me
explain
that's what
these shadows.
You're telling me that's what a flag looks like in zero gravity? It's got a stick in it. Everyone can tell. It's stick and starch. Okay, NASA, I'm not convinced. Yeah, I think that's about all I have for right now.
I'm gonna go ahead and say, I think some of it is probably fake. That's what I'll say.
Yeah.
I'll say that a lot of it is probably real, but I am not closed-minded into thinking that some of it is probably fake. I will also say that within the realm of what we see as far as like content creators saying like something is real or something is fake, guess what? TikTok is a very easy avenue for the normal person to express their opinion. And it's really just like not everybody knows how to have like really good like software and editing skills and all that. Sometimes the shitty TikTok videos, like that's the only way a person can express what they think. And I don't want to invalidate that, especially when some of it, while portrayed really potato quality, maybe there's some valid questions to be had. So I will also say on that same note that TikTok in a very short amount of history recently has been an avenue that goes against some of the more established narratives of our American media.
Totally true.
Totally true. Valid. So, on that note, I am open-minded. I approach this open-minded. I think some of it is probably fake. I think some of it is also very probably real. But if you like the movie Armageddon, please leave us your favorite quote in the comment again.
Animal crackers.
And then I will say my favorite space conspiracy is this. So you guys know I really love time travel. And for many years, that there are conspiracies surrounding that, like Philadelphia experiment, all this kind of stuff. And I was actually up really late, and it was like just reading, like, what's your favorite conspiracy? Like, which one do you think is probably true? This one blew my mind. I don't even have to get down the rabbit hole. So the conspiracy is aliens are not aliens from other planet. It's us from the future.
I have heard that one.
Holy shit. That's just such an intriguing thought. That's my favorite space conspiracy. And on that note, I want to thank you all for joining in. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for telling a friend. Thank you for making a TikTok video of you kissing your mom and then it getting 0 likes and 2 views. And one of them is your Uncle Randy. And we hope to see you next week. Kay, do you know
brother or my dad's brother?
Which one is Randy? Do you have... Charlie, do you actually have an Uncle Randy?
No.
I think Kay does. Kinda.
Yes, I do know that Phil McSpooky does have an Uncle Randy who he
See?
talks to quite frequently.
Quite frequently. Very frequently. Do you know what we're doing next week as a topic, Kay, by chance?
I can try and look it up
Do a
really
little quick look-see. I'm thinking that Colin and Tim should be back next week if I've gotten my schedule correct.
Okay, next week we've got Rogue Planets and Space Ruins. The one
That's Colin.
after that is going to be Secret Space Programs and Alien Technology. And then after that, we actually went ahead and dropped one space topic to talk about Ghosts and Gossip Part 2.
We cannot wait to see you for that one, especially after so much space and conspiracy. You will not get an English accent from me, but if you're lucky, you're going to get some really delicious tea from Joan and Kay as we welcome Joan back from her vacation. But again, thanks for tuning in. Thank you for telling your friend. Thank you for kissing your mom on the lips. And it's not awkward because your mom is not real. And we'll see you all next week. Until then, have a wonderful weekend and a wonderful night. And yes, bye guys. Have a great week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. I should just shut up.
Bye.
Bye. This is really weak ending. Bye.